Hey YouTube, it's the Olive Wood Piper back here again. I want to give you part two of Summers in the City. I want to get my pipe lit here first. Normally I light it ahead of time. I don't know what I was thinking of, but so today, smoking a Peterson Aaron with some McBaron's flake, Virginia flake. Excellent stuff. So when I left off last, we were talking about some of the games we played in the summers, and we used to play handball in an alleyway, and the people who lived in the alleyway didn't appreciate it. You know, I guess they said we'd make too much noise or whatever, but so every once in a while we'd play a game for a certain period of time, and then they'd chase us out and we'd have to run away and that sort of thing. The other thing we did a lot was skating. We used to have these skates that you had to wear either shoes for the small clamp skates, but they also had large clamp skates that actually went around your sneakers. So we wear those, skate around in the street over the potholes and such. But the other thing we did is when the skates broke down and were no longer useful, we would take them and make scooters out of them. We'd take an old milk crate and a 2x4, nail the milk crate to the 2x4, and then put skates in the front and skates in the back. And I guess that was the early version of what we know today as the skateboard. And it was good fun. The other thing we did, we played marbles, and there was all kinds of routines. You know, we dig two holes, and you had to see if you can get into the hole of your other neighbor, and you could hit the marbles. Then we had huge marbles. Some of them were huge, and then we had the smaller ones. Ordinarily, when I was a kid, when the street lights went on, that's when I was supposed to be home. So what we would normally do is at night we would start playing hide and seek until we were able to extend it long enough until the street lights went on, and then we had to get our butts home. We also used to catch fireflies, put them in a jar, which when I think about it was kind of cruel to the insect, but put them in a jar, watch them light up. We'd put holes in the top so at least the insect had air. We don't have any fireflies here in Florida. It's kind of interesting. We got every other creature known to man, but we don't have fireflies. My fondest memories were when the Good Humor truck or the Bungalow Bar truck would come down the street. As he was coming down the street, he'd ring the bells, and no matter where you were, you could hear those bells. And everybody would dart into their house to ask their parents for some coins so we could buy some ice cream. I think at that time, an ice cream bar was 10 or 15 cents. And the neat thing was, when it was real hot, we used to crouch against the truck, so when the ice cream man opened the door to get the ice cream, we'd get a good blast of that frozen air coming out of there. It was pretty cool. And some of the ice cream guys would actually let us sit in the truck and climb on the truck, and it was good fun. The other thing we did was we took bottle caps from soda bottles, and we would skid them across the floor and try it with our fingers and snap our fingers kind of like this and try to hit our opponent's bottle cap. And you would knock them out. We'd have a line on the ground. If you knocked them past that line, you know, you won the bottle cap and that sort of thing. Which actually then brought us to baseball cards. The baseball cards that we would collect are probably worth a fortune these days, and God knows where they all are. But we would flip baseball cards, just like flip them like this, and it would be a heads or a tail. And if you called heads and another guy called tail and it was heads, you won the baseball card. The other thing we did was take the cards and kind of snap them like this and sail them into a wall and try to get them to lean against the wall. And that was kind of fun. The other kinds of things we did, we played box baseball. Box ball, which was played with a Pensy Pinky or a Spalding, and you kind of knocked it over a line, and you can cut it, and you can stop it, you can do all kinds of stuff. But it preoccupied us for hours at a time. We used to buy our vegetables from a vegetable man that used to come down the street with a horse-drawn wagon. And he had all kinds of fresh vegetables on there. He had watermelons, fruits. And what he would do is, as he came down the street, he would yell. He would just shout out all kinds of stuff, you know, melons, peaches, pears, just, you know. And when people would hear him shouting, they knew he was in the neighborhood. And a lot of the moms would come out and purchase fresh vegetables and stuff. Kind of interesting, my friend down the street, his dad was our fruit guy, the vegetable guy. And his dad would come and come with the horse and the wagon, and poor horse dragging that wagon. But perhaps the last thought on the summer was Coney Island. When I was a little bit of a kid, my mom used to take me on the train, and we would go to Coney Island, to the beach. And if I closed my eyes, I could still smell the ocean. And I recall the sand, the wet sand, how it smelled. And as I got older, I did go to the beach. We'd take a bus or a train and go there. And the problem was there were some groups of boys down at the beach that were rather roughnecks. And if they chose to, they would catch you and beat the crap out of you. So my trips to Coney Island were minimal. However, I had an uncle that worked at Steeplechase. Steeplechase was like an amusement park. And they had a pool, but you could also go through the park to the beach. And my uncle would give my cousin and I passes to get into the park. And we'd spend the whole day there. And at the end of the day, after we were tired of swimming, we'd go in the locker room, change, and my uncle would give us tickets. In those days, the ticket was on a circular piece of paper, and it was punched. Every time you went on a ride, they punched a hole through it. So my uncle had all of these used tickets that still had a bunch of rides on them. And he would give those to us, and my cousin and I would just ride the rides until my uncle was off work, and then he'd take us home. It was a good time, a lot of fun. In Coney Island, under the boardwalk, it was a different world under there. You didn't find a whole lot of young kids under there. There was lots of romance going on under the boardwalk. Every time I hear that song, it brings back those memories. But when you were under the boardwalk, it was so cool under there. And the sand was so cool. And you had that ocean smell of the sand. and you could spend hours under there. And there were many relationships that started under the boardwalk. Anyway, I just wanted to finish up the second part of the video with some of the fun that we had when we were youths in Brooklyn. And sometimes I miss those days. I reminisce. I miss some of the friends I had. And I miss how simple life was. Today, everything is so difficult. Everybody's afraid of offending somebody else by what they say, what they do. It's overwhelming. And I don't know what this country is going to be like in 20 years when my grandchildren are grown. But I hope it's at least as good as it is now or better. I don't think we can continue to go down the path that we're going and still have a viable country where people are free to enjoy their religious pursuit, any careers, and we need to get along. And even though we agree to disagree with each other, we don't have to be hateful about it. We're not all going to agree about everything, but some of the hate that goes on and the violence is so unacceptable. So anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And again, I appreciate the comments that I've gotten from some of you. It's really nice to hear that, and I'm glad that you enjoy some of the things that I've done. And as I always say, health and happiness to you and yours. And until we meet again, thanks for watching.